All right. Let's see if we can do a live stream this evening. Our window's situated, and we'll see if anybody's gonna roll in. Hey, what's up, Joe? How's it going, everybody? Chris, you were second, but there's no race, right? All right. I'm just getting the window situated here and everything. Making sure everything looks good. Where everybody rolls in. South Florida. I was first, just didn't type a comment. There you go. What's up, Tony? No, I'm not going to redo the OTA flashing. Doc did that one pretty well on Sunday. So, but I've been getting a lot of questions today of just a lot of new people to Tasmota, and they've got lots of different various devices, and um, it's all kind of new to them, trying to figure out how to, uh, figure out a different device and all the different pins. And I'm trying to silence my phone here so we don't get any notifications. What's up, Glenn? -50 wind chill. I guess y'all gonna hate me because I was supposed to be getting colder here, but I was wearing shorts and flip flops earlier, so I was walking the dog. So I'm sure just half the stream just probably just left after that comment, but except for the Florida guys, right? All right. So let's switch over to the web. So I'm sure everybody's seen all the over-the-air flashing of the Tuya devices. I'm not going to rehash that. I did the video on it, of course, that day, and Doc did me and him did try to do it on the live stream, but then he came out and did it later in the evening after he figured out a couple issues. So you want to go watch all of that and go watch the fun and go see all that on the Doc's channel, and you go do that and along with that video. So to jump right in, I've got two plugs here, and I know one of them on the one on the bottom. And if my chair gets too squeaky for you, let me know. I'll switch chairs. I prefer the more comfortable chair. So the bottom plug, you've seen that. It's on that nightlight video, and I saw Dynotech in there, which was that was his idea when he was talking about those plugs, and so I'll say thanks to him. I know a lot of people I use that every day. That motion plug. It's in my kitchen and turns on my lights in the kitchen area once we have the alarm set. So, so jump right into it. If you haven't flashed any of your Tuya devices, I haven't seen a whole lot of people. It's been really about over 90% of the ones I've seen that they've had success flashing all their different devices, different plugs. I think I saw one person on Reddit that had like a double plug with like a ring nightlight around it, but I don't know if they didn't have something set up correctly. It's because they just tried just that plug or not. They just got the dots and it never came across as taking the upgrade. I saw one other person had it took the initial firmware and it has the vtrust recovery, but I'm not sure if they had an issue. He had with the plug, but his second one worked fine, but the first one, he said he couldn't get to take the firmware. So, but other than that, everybody seems to have had a really high success rate of flashing them with the Tuya stuff. And I've seen a couple of people with light bulbs. Now the light bulbs is a totally different thing because Tasmota doesn't support all of the different libraries with the LED drivers, and there's sometimes I want to say it was the mercury bulbs, I believe, that they do. I want to say it's PWM. I may have it backwards. PWM on the white, but on the color it uses a LED driver, so it won't work with Tasmota at this time. So let's see. Let me see if I can get the chat up here at the same time and then be able to. I just need me a third screen, right? So what we'll do is this is one of the plugs. This is that round plug that's right here. We'll put this one out the way for now. So this is just one of those little round plugs. That's one of the 4-packs. There's a couple different rebrands on them. I think this one's like Eziku or something like that. I linked it in the video, the 4-pack. So basically, once you get into Tasmota, after you put your Wi-Fi SSID and password, it's going to come up as default as Sonoff Basic. And it probably will. It'll say like Sonoff Basic up at the top, and it'll say like Sonoff right here is the name, I believe. So what you'll want to do first on a plug, and this is going to apply to pretty much any type of plug or light switch or whatnot, because you may not have a template for it. Now, of course, go in here and go to Configure Module and look for your particular, plug. You may, of course, it's not going to be one of the Sonoffs if you're doing Tuya, but they may have it in here. Like for instance, that actually I covered in one of my other videos, which did have the Tuya module, is that SK03 outdoor module that did the power monitoring. I added that template to the pull did a pull request to have that one added to it. The power monitoring stuff, which we'll get into in a minute, is a little different because you can't pick the pins for those. But you can do those. So if they don't have yours, then share it and let it reboot, and then go in and come back into the configuration. Oh, and big key here is either set up your MQTT or go into configure other and turn off MQTT, because Tasmota it'll constantly try to connect to MQTT, and it'll cause it to lag, and you'll get lags in like the GUI, or you get lag. It's when it tries to connect, it uses all the resources of the microcontroller. So make sure and set up your MQTT or turn it off before you do this. And while you're in configure other, you can set the friendly name. That's going to put name up here. And also inside MQTT, you'll want to set up your unique topic. And I usually set them the same as my friendly name. And that's going to be your topics that you'll use in the Home Assistant. So I am trying to keep up with the chat here. I don't see any questions just yet. So, which is good. I want to try to blow through this real quick, and then we can hit a bunch of questions on the back end. So what I do first is I come through, and I know this plug isn't going to have GPIO 0, but I come in and I'll usually I'll skip the serial outs and serial ins, and I'll set them all to relays. So I'll go through and set relay 2 and relay 3, and all the relay, you'll notice you get two. There's a relay 2 and a relay 2I, and that's just an inverted relay, where typically in these plugs, when there's a power applied to the relay, it's connected, or it's closed, it's connected. But an inverted relay is that the relay is always connected, and then they apply power to disconnect it. And some devices will have those backward relays, but they're usually not. But if you do get one that's backwards, just go change the relay number and set it to relay 1I or whatnot. So relay 6, relay 7, and then we'll do relay 8. So basically what this is allowing you to do is once you save this and give it a few seconds at a reboot, and I don't know if y'all can see, let me turn this light off here. There, you'll be able to see the LED this time. Hopefully the camera doesn't turn the brightness too much. So if you look closer, you can see the small little blue LED right here at the top. So what I do is, once we get all those relays in, is just go through and listen. You'll want to listen for that relay clicking, and then you also want to look at the LED. And then you have to remember what number it was on each. And let's see. So we'll do 1, and if you don't hear anything or see anything different, then don't worry about it. Just go flip it off, turn to the next one. And I just work through them until I find, and see right there, if you'll notice that the LED is now cycling, but you'll notice it's a backwards LED. So off is actually on, and then on is off. So we'll make sure and set that to LED 1I. So whatever relay 5 is set to. So we'll pull up something on Notepad, and we'll do relay 5 equals LED 1I, so we don't forget, because I'm sure I'll get distracted and not do it. So then we'll go to 6. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear it. You should be able to hear, let's see. Take my mic and put close to it. You should be able to hear the relay clicking. And once you hear the relay clicking, then good. That's going to be your relay. Hey, Mike, we're basically a continuation of setting up Tasmota after you've done the Tuya flash. There's a lot of people that are new to Tasmota, and actually they're kind of brand new. They have these different plugs, and they're like, well, hey, the button doesn't work, or the relay doesn't work, or the LED doesn't work, and they don't know how to do the general configuration. So we're showing how to figure that out. So relay 6 equals relay 1. And now the button's going to be a little different. So we'll go into configuration, and we'll set all these back. Let's see. So we'll set all these back to none. All right. And then I didn't forgot which ones I had for relay 5. Oh, hold up. Let's not save that. I'm skipping around. So relay 5 is going to be, that's going to be LED 1I. And then relay 6 actually gets relay 1. And then we'll set all the other ones to none. And then we'll set this one back to none, and then we'll save it. Give it a second to reboot. All right. So now you'll get, now that we have relay 1, you'll get 1 off, and I'm cycling it back and forth. I hear it clicking, and actually you can also see the blue LED, so you know we have it correct. Now the one next issue is the buttons, because of course the button's not doing anything. So to do the button, what I like to do, just in case there's something holding you put it on something that's held low. I don't like to set them to buttons yet. I'll set them to switches. So we'll start with switch 1. And like I said before, I'll skip serial out and serial in. Typically, they don't set the switches to those. Or they don't use them because they'll leave them as the hardware serial. So switch 2, we'll do switch 3, switch 4, switch 5, switch 6, and switch 7. Now, you may be wondering why there's double of the switches. So like there's a switch 7 and there's a switch 7 in. The switch 7 in means the internal pull-up resistor that stops that line from floating is not used on the ESP8266. And for instance, typically when I configure the little AM312 motion sensors like on the other plug we'll show in a minute, those actually hold low when there's no motion. So it's going to hold low, and you don't want the pull-up resistor, because I've had some of them not work. So I'll set those to no pull-up. But typically, you will do a switch with a pull-up resistor. So we'll do switch 7, and then we'll save it. Give it a second. Now, next what I do is I go in the console, and let's see. If I do, let's see, we'll do, what we're going to do here. Status 8 is what it is. Yep. Okay. So status 8. And what status 8 does is gives you the state of all the switches. So you can see switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, switch 4, switch 5, 6, 7, and so forth. So then what I'll do is I'll do a status 8 again, and I'll hold the button down and hit enter. And then then you can let go. And I'll scroll across, and if you compare them, they're on, off, off. Okay, well then we know exactly right there that I did not find the correct switch for the button. So I'll go back to configuration, and it's, of course, process elimination is going to be either serial out or serial in. So we'll set all these back to switch, and we'll switch 1 and switch 2 for serial in, and we'll change these back to none. And none. And then we'll save it. Hey, what's going on, Aaron? Lunch break. Definitely evening over here. So, so now I'll go back in the console, and we'll do a status 8. And I'll hold type in status 8 again. And I'll hold down the button. Oh, and I heard it click, by the way. So apparently we got one of them. And hit let go. And we know, if you can see comparing them, you have right here, switch 1 is on, and then it goes to off when you hold the button down. So we know immediately we'll go back into the main menu, go to configuration, configure module, and we'll turn off switch 2. And at this point, we can change it to button 1, and then we'll save it. And give it a few seconds, and main menu. And then now, pushing the button toggles the plug exactly like it's supposed to. And it's a real quick way to see exactly the configuration of this module. Now, a couple other things I like to do is I like to configure now this as a switch, because I like to do, there is the double press option. I like to do the short and the long press option. I'll configure this switch. The one issue you're gonna have, that one downside to that is doing a switch where you can do the short and long press options is, of course, you don't get the option, you don't get that option anymore where you can hold down the button for 40 seconds and it will factory reset the device. Yeah, you can. You can, Ash. You can use the same thing as the buttons for, because it just shows the sensors when you type in status 8. I guess it doesn't. It just not showing the buttons. Huh. Okay. It doesn't show the state of the buttons for some reason. I don't use the buttons a whole lot because I like to almost have devices that have the long and short press, and that's kind of what we're used to. And because I do a lot of different rules and stuff, which we can get into in a little bit. So next thing, I want to switch over and we'll do the same thing with the motion light. So if you haven't watched it, this is the motion light that it does have several LEDs inside of here. And I drilled a hole in this little diffuser cap, and we have a motion sensor tied into another GPIO pin. So it doesn't really fit the thing of doing a non-soldering type, because you do have to solder to attach that motion sensor to them. But I wanted to be able to show you this does have a button on the side. It has a relay inside, but plus we'll be able to mess with the motion, and the LEDs are dimmable. So kind of the same deal on there is we'll go through and configure module. Uh-oh, look, we got the dock in the house. It's flip-flopped, right? So kind of the same deal. We'll go through and we'll assign, which I know from my video I was doing, but if you don't want, let's not cheat. We'll do relay 1, and again we'll skip serial. Well, I'm making a liar out of myself. We'll skip the serial out and serial ins, and just set them all to relays again. And relay 4, relay 5, relay 6, relay 7, and relay 8. And then we'll save it. What mono smart plug? Look at them earlier. It might be OTEC. Greg, that's the plugs I did were linked in the video I had. Let's see. It was these right here. Let's see. Well, if I can pull up. There's a bunch of different brands of these, but there was it was the little 4-pack of these plugs, and they went really quickly. They picked them right up. Of course, there's several other different brands of that same looking plug, by the way. So, so now we got it rebooted, and we'll go through, make sure we're on camera. Yep. So nothing on relay 1, relay 2, nothing, relay 3, nothing, 4, 5. Okay, there we go. So 5. let's see. Let's make notes of this here. Relay 5 equals LED. Okay. I'll turn that off. Relay 6, nothing, nothing. Oh, and there's the relay right there. It's on relay 8, actual relay for the plug. All right. So we'll go back in to configure module, and we'll change these all back, because that's going to be our only outputs. Now, of course, if you had more than one light or there was more than one relay, then you would continue on. But on this one, I know we only have those outputs. Is that light? And there's no other LED on it. It's just the ring of LEDs. There's no actual status LED on here. Oh, look, I did it again while I was talking. So relay 5 is the LED. Now, see, here's going to be the different part, which I'm going to show you. We're going to do, we'll do it as LED 1, but we're going to change that in a minute. And this gets relay 1 and none. Oh, and none, none, and none, and none. And then we'll come in and we'll do the switches again. So we'll do switch 1. We'll skip serial out and serial in. Switch 2. Switch 3. Switch 4. Switch 5. Switch 6. And switch 7. And skip serial in, serial out, save. All right. End up using an Android tablet, but the Tuya light switch doesn't show up. Just dot still. Mark, you may want to check inside the scripts folder. There's some logs in there that if you SSH, or you can go in and use Nano or CAT or whatnot and go view those logs. And there's like 4 different logs. There's like an MQTT log, a web, a Wi-Fi, and something else. And those logs may help you. You need to connect your phone. Christian, I think I've had that question as well. I know that unless the developers are just messing with us, I haven't seen anybody say, hey, it doesn't work without that other thing attached. But I'm assuming it has something to do with some sort of broadcast packets or whatnot. I'm not one of those up and ups on the networking of what would be the difference of it. But apparently you do have to have something. Otherwise, I guess it doesn't trigger something with the switch. Yeah, so Scott, I just say it's some voodoo magic. It works. It's amazing. I'll just listen to what the devs say on the GitHub and make it go. All right. So, and I do know, keep reading on that page, because there's different pull requests. I know the one that I saw y'all talking about Node.js. I saw a pull request about they're rewriting it and take Node.js out. They're going to use it in just Python. So it's definitely evolving and get a little easier and become more reliable. So definitely keep an eye on the commits, which I'll show you on that page. If you're not familiar with GitHub, just someone remind me to show the GitHub commits on that page. So before we get distracted again on this, so we got the relay. Now, of course, since I did set LED to the port of the LED, the night light part of it, to the LED, it's the status light. It's going to turn on and off every time I do turn the actual relay on. So, but one difference you'll want to do with this nightlight module is, oh, we need to do the switches. See, I'm getting distracted here. Is status 8, and then we'll type in a status 8 again. I'll hold the button and hit enter. And as you can tell, see, switch 1 went from on to off, and these others are on, off, off. Okay. Now, still, we need one more input because we have now. It's not a button; it's actually the motion sensor. So that may be a little bit difficult to do, but we'll see if we can find that one. So we'll do status 8 again, and let's see if we can trigger it with my hand, and see if we can find it. If not, I may have to reference back. Look, there it is right there. No, that's switch 1 again. So let's set that one first. So switch 1 is there. Switch 2. Now, I remember I did these because I remember I was talking about those no pull-ups. I'm wondering if it's having that issue. So let's change these to switch 2 in. And there's another way I can cheat, is I can also, we will know this is GPIO 0, is you can cheat and let it switch this, actually do a switch 1, but then you have to keep changing it every time. So we're just going to stick with this. We'll just change all of these to no pull-ups. 1, 2, 3, I missed one. 5, 6 in, and 7 in. And 2, yeah, we'll leave that as 1. All right, we'll go to main menu, console, and we'll status 8, and we'll type in another status 8. And let's see if I can get it to trigger. All right, let's see if we can figure out which one it was. I hear it clicking. 6, 4. Look, it's 4. No, it's not lined up. There, well, it's lined up right there. If you look, switch 4 is off, and switch 4 is on. So that's going to be the motion sensor, is whatever we have on switch 4. So we'll go to, that's GPIO 5. So we'll change that to switch 2 in, and we'll set all these back to none. Now, even though I knew the configuration of this, I just want to show you guys that how easy it is, and you can apply this to all your different switches. Well, most of the switches that are, your single relays or double relays, etc. So switch 1, 2, and and then we'll change this from the LED 1. We'll change this to PWM 1. And that's the pulse width modulation. Let me catch up. Anything the process? Can you let that thing? Okay, so you guys are talking to each other. Good. Okay. Dr. Drew's Adventures. Look, easy way is do a find on the page and search for Smart Life or search for Tuya. Or if you don't see that, then go down, like a lot of times they'll have the questions there where people are asking the seller questions, and they might find somebody talking about the app or the Smart Life app or the Tuya app. Then if you don't see that, then look in the comments, and sometimes you'll find all the different, someone will talk about Smart Life. All right, so now that we've got the PWM, you'll notice we get 2 different toggles now. We still have the relay. I can actually hear it clicking. And now toggle 2 should turn on the night light. Now I know it's going to be hard to see in the camera because the camera is going to auto adjust to the brightness. Because if I turn it up really bright, you may see it for a little bit. And then if I go dark, I guess you can kind of see it, but then they automatically adjust right back. So, but you can tell it's set up right with the PWM. And if it was, again, just like with the relays, if PWM was backwards, where you were turning it off and then it would turn on, there's a PWM1 and then an I for being inverted. Now, one thing you'll note here, let's see if it does the switch. You'll see that when I put my hand over it, it's changing the motion light based on, because the reason why in Tasmota there's switch 1 automatically gets tied down here to relay 1, and then switch 2 is getting tied to PWM 1. So the motion sensor is automatically getting tied to it. So if you wanted to snag that off of there, and one thing I do want to, let me show you before we jump to that. I talked about setting the switch 1s with the long press. Is the switch mode. If you press the button on the side, and when you press it and you just hear the relay click as long as you have the button held down, that's because there's switch mode. Tasmota commands. And we'll do switch. The switch mode, because I have it set as a switch mode 0 is going to just set it to a toggle. And that's not what we have with the button. So what you'll want to do, it's going to be set to a push button. Well, I want it set as switch mode 5 because I want to do that hold. Because I like to do the rules to actually turn other things on and off. So if you type in switch mode 1, you'll see it's set to switch mode 0 right here. So we're going to set that to switch mode 1, which is switch 1, as 5. And now, when we push the button, you'll just see it say power 1 is turned off. It's setting the, kind of hard to see with the dimmer going on and off. So I guess we'll set a rule for that right quick. To stop the rule of the motion, we can do a rule 1, and you say on switch 2 state do publish, and we'll call it motion light 1 PIR. And if you do a percent value, what that's going to do is just going to send the 0 or the 1 based on for the payload. So when you're configuring it in Home Assistant, you'll want to set the payload as 0 or 1. If you want to do like a no or a yes, then you'd have to do like a on switch state equals 0, then do a payload of like yes, and then another rule of no. I just find it easier to do this method. And then we'll do rule 1 to turn that on. So now when the motion triggers, you'll see that it is posting an MQTT message to the topic motion light PIR, and it puts a payload of 1. And then when it untriggers from no motion, it puts it to 0, which you can use that for like a binary sensor. And I covered that. I know I did that very quickly. I covered this exact thing in the motion light video if you wanted to go see how I explain that rule. But I just wanted to get that one out of the way. So to do, let's see. That should be turning on and then turns off the relay. Yep. Now, if you want to do that hold, if you do another rule, and you say on switch 1 state equals 3, and it's going to be 3 because 3 is the hold. 2 is going to be your toggle. 0 is going to be on and off, like if you had a regular switch on and off. We have a toggle, like a push button, so it'd be either 2 when you're toggling, or it'd be a 3 if you do a hold. You publish, let's see, motion light 1, and we'll say hold, and we'll just say hold a payload of 1. And switch 1 state equals 3, publish. If you did want to do a retained message, you do publish 2 with the number 2 after it, by the way. And then we'll do set option 32 of a 7. What that does is that will do like 0.7 seconds of hold time instead of, because default's 40, and that's 4 seconds to hold down the button. So if we do press it and hold it down, it should give us, oh, I didn't turn rule 2 on. It should give us the hold message here, if I have the switch mode right. And the switch mode might be backwards of switch 1. Talk about Martin, Jerry, dimmer, flash. Well, I'm not sure what the module parameter. Hey, Marco, hang on to that for a little bit, and we'll jump to there. Let's see, switch mode. Oh, switch mode 1. I think maybe if it's 6. I don't remember if it is. Trying to remember my own rules here. Switch mode 1, 5, and then rule 2. What do we have here? On switch. It's not doing the hold for some reason. Oh, I forgot the do publish. That's what happened. I was hurrying too much. So rule 2, on switch do publish. Now let's give it a shot. Yeah, so there we go. Doing the hold, now you'll see it publish that to hold. And that's, a lot of times I like to have one light switch turn off another, which I covered in one of my other videos, on how to do the rules to like send MQTT commands or web send commands if you want to use HTTP straight over to another Tasmota switch, or you can post to a topic and then pick it up in Node-RED or something, or whatever you want to do. It's kind of your own solution there. So real simple way to figure out all the pins on the little round plug and the motion light. You can use the same type of configuration and, or I'll say process, to figure out all the different plugs and everything out there. Now, the power, I know I mentioned it before, the power monitoring, you will have to either hope there's a template with those, there's 3 pins typically for power monitoring on most of the chips that they use. And you have to figure out exactly which pins and which state that is. And it's it can pose to be difficult if you can't open the plug, because then it's just a matter of guessing. That's kind of a pain. So, so Marco, real quick on the, you nailed it right there with the, what you'll want to do is, you've now into Tasmota, go ahead and flash that binary that I did for off of my repo in which I linked in that video, and it's inside the bins folder. and flash this one. I know it's 63016. For the dimmer base, there's not a whole lot has changed. I will eventually, I will upgrade it to 6.4. There's several different changes I had to do for that Martin Jerry dimmer because of all the status lights. And then there's another pin that you have to send PWM. There was a little bit to get it done. And so it's not, I haven't done a pull request into Tasmota itself yet because it may require a different driver. And then I'm not exactly sure how we can still keep all the different switch modes and the topics and being able to do like the long press on the little rocker to make it jump to different favorite positions. So that's, just use this for now. But of course, follow your process of the Tuya convert. Get into Tasmota, get your Wi-Fi set up and everything, and then you can just apply this bin right on top of it using the firmware upgrade inside of Tasmota. So you just cannot. You get an error message. What error message do you get? You should be able just to flat, because once you've done that, it's just a normal Tasmota at that point. You should be able to flash, and that bin is small enough as long as the bin that you have applied, which it should be, has enough free program space, which that bin is only, I want to say it's like 420-ish K or something like that, then you should be available to flash. You don't have to do like a minimal or whatnot to flash in there. But Marco, definitely hit me up on Discord, and we'll try to work through that one. And because you will need that different bin file, otherwise you're not going to be able to control a lot of your different the lights and really anything on that Martin Jerry dimmer. Mike, actually, that pegboard, that's one of my wife's various things, and it's lots of like little jewelry trinket stuff. Magic Byte is not 0xe9. I would make sure and re-download. That sounds like it got a bad bin file. I would make sure and re-download that because it's looking for a particular verification in that bin file. I would definitely download it again and make sure that it's if it still does it, I mean, definitely hit me up on Discord. I haven't had anybody else having issues with downloading the bin file off of GitHub. So I guess anybody have any other questions? We still got time and everything. I said I was going to do till like 10:30 in case it went over or whatnot. I know I wasn't able to keep up with the live stream a little bit there. I know someone did talk about doing all the different light bulbs. I do plan on doing some light bulbs with the Tuya, and I did one already, and actually I have ESPHome running on a light bulb. I just don't have it here with me. It's actually in production. It's in my motion light in my master bathroom. Oh, no key storage. Three-way switch. Actually, I haven't had time to put it in. Actually, it goes in my. I had it in, and then I wanted to do the Tuya test, and I knew that one was doable, so I pulled it back out of the wall, and it was in my hallway, and I had the backup of that firmware, so I was able to apply that firmware back to it. And I knew I was able to solder to it and flash it back and forth. So I did it about 6 or 7 times with the Tuya convert process before I recorded the video. Yes, Wellington, I will share that with that bulb. I probably will do, if y'all want to, I'll make sure and do another live stream with it, with that bulb, and I'll have it in place. I've got a couple other different bulbs that I ordered as well. I do not know if they're going to work with it or not, so we may just be doing the one bulb, but probably do. Yes, Don, I was able to get the color working. The bulb I have uses that My 9291. It's a bulb I've had for a while. Um, and I ordered it back, shoot, probably back in July of last year, and I've had it in my bathroom ever since. And it has a Sonoff Dual that sends an MQTT message up to the smart bulb, and that smart bulb is just hardwired. Any way to segregate the LED bulb lights from the motion sensor and the night light? This automation. Yeah, Jim. We actually did that here with that simple rule. Oh, hey, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Definitely, I'll put it towards different Tuya orders. I'm sure that I've got a list of them in my cart, so I'm with the itchy finger. The rule I did was on that motion sensor. Rule 1 is I just have it posted. Once you do a rule and you don't have, I just have it doing on switch 2 state. So anytime that motion sensor changes from a 0 or 1, it's going to post that 0 or 1. And once you put that rule in, then it disconnects that switch from actually toggling that PWM. So you'll notice now that whenever I pass my hand over it, you'll see it post that motion light 1 PIR equals 1. And then now motion light 1 PIR equals 0. And so of course it went back low, and you'll see it's not toggling that PWM. But if we did type in, and I'm saving me from having to go to the console, I can pop on the dimmer, and you can put that as a regular light inside Home Assistant, as a regular dimmer light, and control it separately. Oh, without using an internal Tasmota rule. I wonder if you could set it. You might be able to set it to switch, but see, it may try to tie it back. You can try to set it to switch 3, but then how would you see? You'd be going back to the old way I used to do things. You could set up a fake relay as relay 3, and then set that motion to switch 3 or button 3, and it'll tie those together. But one thing to note of that when you do that fake relay is go through the Tasmota commands, and because I did this myself, I did the fake relay thing. I just didn't know about the rules. And if you go down to set option, it's going to be set option 0. Because you're flipping that relay back and forth every time motion happens, and I had this in my son's room, of course, and he's in and out, in and out, in and out. And I noticed one day, just happened to be looking in the configuration, it shows I had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flash saves. And I just put the switch in. I'm like, what's he been doing? Pushing the button on the thing all the time? Well, then I found out it was saving to the flash every time the motion was passing. So I came in and did a set option 0, and that would turn off the saving of the state of that fake relay. That SM16716, that's the exact, Wellington, the exact one of that pull request. I think we talked on Facebook about that. I I want to say that's the same one they have in those mercury bulbs here. I think you're in maybe in Canada or up north or something. Maybe I'm maybe getting mixed with someone else. The mercury bulbs have that same LED driver. I would like to get that one working in ESPHome. So maybe figure out a driver, looking at that code from Tasmota, and maybe we can work it into ESPHome and do a pull request with Odo. Since you've been on this, I was able to get the smart wall outlet. Oh, that's cool. 3.1 amp Wi-Fi duplex working. Good deal. It's almost sensor mod. Help with iFan and custom caps. Oh, Mike, the iFan 02 and the custom caps. How good are you at soldering and not tearing up a PCB board and pulling off those big block caps? That's the thing. Please post your rules. Are struggling with 2 lights in my garage. I have MQTT commands turn on motion. I got them working. Yeah, so I was right, Wellington, because I think you post some stuff about going to one of the stores up there, I believe. Radio Nerd, what rules are you talking about? I do. That was kind of my trend. I tried to post a lot of different rules in real world scenarios, and a lot of my different videos I did towards the beginning where I beat Tasmota to death, but in a good way. And I know the rules can be kind of daunting at first, and it was to me, and I didn't even use the rules, and it wasn't until actually that iFan 02 when I started using that MCP 23017 where you add additional GPIO buttons or inputs and outputs to the 2 pins, and that's what I started. Once I saw how easy the rules were, I was really impressed with and started using them. Remove the 5U from existing wireless and iFan 2, so now I don't get just the full speed. Did you remove both the... Let me see. I should have one here. Give me a second. I know I had that fan here somewhere. So I have a second one I haven't put in yet. That's the case to it. Well, I can't find the iFan itself. I don't have it offhand with me right now. Yeah, I believe they were. They are both that 5UF, and I think even the schematics show their difference. But I pulled those and actually soldered additional leads to them because I didn't want to. I couldn't find. There were some caps that looked like they were the right size but you just never know with the pins on AliExpress, and it was going to take forever to get here. And so what I did, I just soldered some additional leads into those same holes and brought the leads outside of the iFan, and then I used actually the capacitor out of the fan itself. And I just removed the hole and hardwired in where I got rid of the 3-way, the pull chain that has the 4 positions, and got rid of it and just wired it directly. And then the capacitors are at the iFan. Let's see. Ready. Rule 1 on switch 2 state do publish command power toggle. So you having a Radio Nerd? You having a problem with that rule or what? So let's see. I'm gonna pull up something on the screen here without, if I don't do the dock thing, and let's see. And don't reveal my secrets, right? Let's see. ESP. I'm gonna go to ESPHome, Web UI, and edit. Oh, never mind. I actually have it set up already for a live stream using some fake SSIDs and MQTT names. So I don't know if y'all can see. Hey, I appreciate it. I've been saying it hookah. I'm saying it wrong. I'm probably, you can, my southern drawl, everybody loves to pick on, but that's fine. So I know Wellington was showing about the, which I will show this, and this is the ESPHome. If you haven't checked out ESPHome, definitely check it out. It's pretty cool. Odo's done a great job with this, really tying it in tightly with Home Assistant. It makes it really super simple. So what I did in here, this is, I'll show you what bulb I bought. And possibly in Canada, you might be able to find a different one maybe. Let's see, give me 1 second, I'll find that bulb. Because there's so many and they all look the same, and it's like you don't know which bulb that you purchased before, because they all look the same and they might have different drivers or whatnot. Let's see. Is that one? It says it's a smart Wi-Fi bulb, Weton or something. Let's see. Let me post it. Where's the chat at? I got too many windows going on here. Exactly, Glenn. Everybody else sounds weird, right? So it's a Weton something or other bulb. It's I see, I bought it back in July and I've had no issues with it. It's kind of dim, like most of the other ones. It's kind of dim on the, oh look, there's only 9 left in stock too. So it's kind of dim on the color, but it does have, it's RGBW. And I played around with this and played around with this. I had AI light, and no disrespect to any, I know he did a lot of great stuff on that firmware. I did have an issue, which it does in the issues thread, the issues threads on GitHub, is sometimes they, like when I was updating the firmware on my access points, it would sometimes not reconnect to MQTT. And I didn't really like that. And so I wanted to do something with ESPHome. And so I messed with this last night and went through and found using the docs and find the pins. And I used the configuration they had for that Sonoff B1. And I had to change it from number of chips to 1, number of channels 4. Of course, then I had to figure out all the different, which one was blue, which one was red, green, and the white. That's just process elimination. When you go turn it to red and it comes on as green, etc., until you get them figured out. The only issue I had, which they helped me out, it was WKD. I know I've seen him in Discord. He was in the Discord on Odo's channel, and I couldn't find, and I must have just been overlooking it in the docs, was this default transition length. It defaults to 1 second. Well, I had that as a motion light in my bathroom, and it changes the brightness and the color based on the time of the day. Like, so when I come in there in the morning and get ready for work, it's just like really, really super dim. And but then later on in the day, it's bright enough for us, and just turns that light on. But I didn't want that 1 second delay because the motion light feels like an eternity, that 1 second. And so they helped me out. I was able to do the default transition of 0 seconds. So, but I'm gonna do that probably with another stream. I want to have the actual bulb here in the camera, and I'll lock the auto brightness on the camera so we can actually see and play around with the bulb. And hopefully I'll have a couple others by then. I ordered some different bulbs. I may stop and get one of those mercury bulbs at Walmart to mess with as well, if my local Walmart has any. Let's see. What am I catching up on here? Let's see. Checking on that 7 watts. So I'll be one. Yeah, I know they like to stretch a lot of those. And I really wish we would do away with all of those 7 watt, 6 watt, etc. Just stick to lumens. The ones that Paul Hibbert mentioned, or is that a Hibbert? Or see, I want to say from here is almost like an A-bear, but that's normally spelled Hebert. I think I saw you link those. They were by like Tekken or something, I believe. I think it's what they were by. They were by like Tekken. Now power monitoring. I don't know if the link will let you do. Yeah, we'd be sitting there searching for. I think this was it. T-Tekken. No, I don't have any of the T-Tekken ones. And if I ordered another pack of smart plugs, I think my wife would kill me. It's not too bad. Actually, it's not too bad for 2 of them. It's tempting because I do have the power monitoring in them. I bet you they do have that HLW 8012 chip, and it'd just be a matter of finding out those 3 pins. And I'm always up for a good challenge. That's not bad. $12 for one. It's the Sonoff S31s, you get those for like about $18 typically. Take an SP20 has the power monitoring. Do they have that one working in a template in Tasmota? I think they do have that one. I remember seeing that name before. Oh, there it is. That's the same one we were looking at, right? Let's see. Do they have that one working in? Let's see. Oh, and let's see. Let's go to, let's see, Sonoff. This is I know I've showed this before. If you look in the templates, sometimes Theo will put links in here. Let's see if we find Tekken. Okay, it does have Tekken listed, but it looks like he'll put links in the comments sometimes on some of these. Let's see what plug that is. Okay, it's a little different Tekken plug. I'm sure it looks normal to some of you guys. Oh, look, there you go. Tekken SP20 US with energy monitoring. And they got several different others. So that's the Tekken one we were just looking at. So it looks like that you're golden. As long as you can give them a work with the Tuya convert, and I'm sure someone will say, hey, that worked. Oh, and Zuzi has them as well. Looks like the same. Probably that's probably a rebrand of just Zuzi rebranding, and Tekken also probably rebranding one from one of the Chinese manufacturers. Um, let's see. If you get it, I'm getting it too. Yes, I would definitely, Tim, pick up the power monitoring ones. Whether the Zuzi or the Tekken ones, or whichever one is the cheapest for you, that you can get the quickest, of course, in your area. Have more smart plugs at power outlet. If I buy something else, end up on the balcony, it's like 30 outs. Yeah, I know, Wellington. I've got a couple of S31s I picked up. I've got several different ones out there. Those different. All right, V Cloud, I appreciate you hanging in there. Thank you. I'm about to do the same. I know, I believe you're an hour ahead of us, so it'll be 11:15 your time. So I got about 10 more minutes here myself before I got to do some things for the evening and head on to bed. So, um, yeah, the energy monitoring. Yep, and sometimes I've seen plugs won't say energy monitoring, and I've actually had to go look in. But then they had a picture of it in energy monitoring. I'm like, why do you not put that in there? Um, and now one thing I saw brought up, people were talking about I don't know if they're sold on Amazon, was the greenie plugs. Oh, they are. Okay. Um, some of the greenie plugs, I know some people were asking about being UL listed and ETL listed. Um, and I know when I was looking at the links on, let's see, I think it was Home Depot. They had a couple of them. I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's Genie, not Greenie. My bad. Yeah, so the Genie, and apparently those also use the Tuya app. I think someone was saying they actually did one. Um, and I know this one we looked at, and it's, of course, it's an outdoor plug, but they were concerned with, of course, the specifications on it, where it shows it's ETL listed. So, oh, good deal, Marco. Glad you got that fixed up. And yeah, once you get into real quick for you, let me go back. I did list on that Martin Jerry dimmer. If you look in the README and just follow along after you've set up your MQTT broker, I did put the backlog that sets up all those different switch modes. And then there's some little bonus ones if you want to do a MQTT topic for like a long press. And of course you can change um, we use like about a 45 now on this dimmer. So like I long press the bottom and it does 45, and I long press the top and it does 100. And of course you can still go tap, 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 tap and go, do it in steps on those. So, oh, and then you can do the other rule if you want to do the rule 3, which will do the LED power, and it puts the red light on when it's off. So, but it all follows you through. And then of course you've got the sample code right here to paste straight into Home Assistant. And just change your topics, of course, because I had it set to like Tuya test or something like that. So, yeah, I was considering the Sonoff Power R2 to switch my outdoor plugs, but no UL. See it. Yeah, and I'm not up to date on all the different certifications. I know some of them are kind of whack and aren't what they used to be anymore. But those, I guess they're Genie, not Greenie. They do have the ETL listings. I know you won't find a lot of the UL listings unless you probably go, unfortunately, to the Z-Wave side of things. So, Yeah, now y'all tempted me to go pick up a couple of those. I see what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get me to go pick up a couple of those Tekken SP20 switches, plugs. But look, they look pretty cool. The one thing I do like about them is they don't cover the other socket. Um, yeah, I did an outdoor plug before. Let's see. It was this outdoor plug. We did it on the live stream actually, and I couldn't figure out the power monitoring straight off the bat, and I ended up having to trace it out because we had it open. I was able to find out it had that chip, the HLW8012, I believe, and that was I'm sure the wife won't mind. Yeah, she, you buy any more damn plugs? And yeah, it was actually when I bought the light bulbs earlier. It's like, what do we need more light bulbs for? I'm like, well, to get rid of the Zigbee ones, right? So, oh, look, I'm typing in the wrong window. And that's this one. We did this plug here. And, oh, that's actually not bad. There's actually a $20 for an outdoor plug right now. So it was a $10 coupon showing on mine. I'm not sure how they do the coupons on if it's just per person or is it per area. I'm not sure how they do the coupons on Amazon, but I just see it and click it and take the coupon. So that one was pretty cool. I don't have that one outside anymore. I have it actually in let me find it right quick. I got, again, too many windows open here. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna try to find. I gotta find my IP address to it on my Unify controller and do the Tuya outdoor 59. Yep, so here's that SK03 outdoor module that I just linked, and does have it's actually, I have it on my dishwasher right now, doing some notifications when the dishwasher is done running and when it starts, etc. I think I actually have it feeding into, if I can find it, into Grafana. Let's see, I don't think I'll give away anything in here. Yep. Yep. Let's see if I had it in here. Yeah, I have it in this graph right here. But I just have it mixed in with my dryer and the washing machine and the dishwasher. Let's see if I can do last. That's 2 days. There we go. There's some dishwasher action. Yeah, you can see it. So that one, big mixture. You got the dryer going, got the washer going, the dishwasher going. So. Oh, cool, Jim. Yeah, that same. I did put that in the wiki of Tasmota under the other devices. Let's see. But there's a template if you pick straight into Here it is right here. It's that same little TYWE3S module. And I did put the template on there. You see here's if you don't have one that doesn't have the right thing, this is what I'm talking about. You're actually gonna have to find the pin. There's 3 pins. You have to find the pin for the CF and then the CF1, and then you gotta see this energy select and whether it's inverted or not. So you gotta find the combination of these 3 pins on the power monitoring plug to figure it out. Now, I was a little easier to figure it out because I was able to tone out the different GPIO pins on the chip on the board, but of course on the plug, if you can't open it, then it's a little more difficult. See, this is that chip right here in the middle. I was able to pin it out and pin from one side to the next and figure out exactly which, and to submit my pull request to get that SK03 module in it's in the stock firmware. So you should just be able to put the stock firmware on it, and you come in and go to configuration and pick the SK03 outdoor. So yes, Chris, that's the outdoor plug I linked. That's a power monitoring plug. It's not submersible. They show it as rainproof, I believe. And it does talk about, it does have like rubber seals on it and stuff like that. So, but it's a Tuya. You can see that's the inside of it right there. And that's the Tuya module. That's that same exact Tuya module we're familiar with. So, and of course, during this video I was doing, I showed how to solder it, and it's difficult because that relay is really close to those pins, but don't have to solder it anymore. Well, for now. That's I'm curious to see how, if they able to patch this thing. I'm hoping they'll have to patch it firmware wise, and that way it'll take a while to get down the distribution channels. So let me see what I'm catching up on. Let me go scroll back right quick. Tekken has some with outlet and USB to control them individually too. Got some cheaper on Costco. Do you have your own just for your smart love? Yeah, Jay, I actually do. I've got probably 6 or 7 different SSIDs between my 2 access points. And a lot of times I'll tear them up and tear them down to doing live streams and whatnot, and just making stupid names up. And that way I don't have to worry about sharing my SSID and passwords and stuff like that. And same thing with the MQTT users. I'll make up some stupid IDs and passwords, even though it's not exposed. Yeah, now I do have a separate, IP range and everything, so for a lot of for all the Tasmota switches as well. But I don't have it blocked for my regular network because it's the Tasmota switches. Now, if it's other devices, like I do have a Nest Protect, and I do have a Nest thermostat, and there's no local control in those things. I've got a little Honeywell Wi-Fi camera that someone gave me, and the brothers. No, not brothers. I had SSID. Had a different SSID for it, and those are actually sandboxed, and so there's no local control for them. So they can't see my internal network. If someone got on them somehow, they would just be able to see themselves and get out on the internet. So they had to find out first. So I must have missed. Me and Ben, brother. It's all a big conspiracy theory, right? See, Ben, there's everybody. Yeah, let's see who else is out there. Yeah, Jim. That is I was talking with Paul about that the other day. I've got an Edge Router Lite right now, but I've still, one of my goals is to get on, I've played with pfSense, and I know I could kind of bootleg it in and run it in my a server where I have Unraid at, but I want physical separation for me, and I want to have just a simple little. I know they don't call them NUCs; they call them like security device or network device, and um, I've seen them on Amazon. They're like, they're $300, $400. They have some Intel NIC ports, and they're like fanless, I believe. And that's kind of what I want to do for pfSense. And that way I have a separate box, and so yeah. If whoever's running pfSense, I'm jealous. Frank is like a weird cousin. So who's Frank with? We'll just pick on everybody in here, right? OpenSense. I hadn't seen OpenSense, Jonathan. I'd take a look at that one. So, but I definitely want to get the hardware down for that. So, well, it's 10:30 my times. He's not weird. He's European. It's 10:30 my time, guys. I'm sure it's whatever times it's out there. I appreciate you hanging around on the stream for the hour and a half. I hope maybe you learned a little bit of something of Tasmota and how to configure all your different plugs and switches, and if you need help doing the power monitoring stuff, that's something more. I'll have to probably get my hands on one if you can't figure it out, and that's more it's a lot of process elimination on for the power monitoring, especially if you can't open it. So, all right, everybody, y'all have a good evening, and definitely stay warm. And it's supposed to be even cold in my area. I had to put up my flip-flops and my shorts. And y'all take it easy, and definitely go flash some more Tuya stuff while you can, I say. So that's what I'm doing. Y'all take it easy and have a good night. Thanks.